Hello Mzansi, welcome to episode 435 of the Farmers Inside Track podcast. My name is Duncan Masiwa and I'm your host for this episode. Now, pap is a staple known for its versatility in flavors and textures. Willfried Korn, the founder of Pap-to-Go, has revolutionized this beloved dish by introducing a deep-fried version. Can you imagine? Now, his innovative pap-based meals are gaining popularity at farmers markets and private events. In this episode, we learn about how the idea for Pap-to-Go started, his early experiments with pap, and various tasting affinities, as well as his dreams for the future. Willfried, welcome to Farmers Inside Track.
Thank you very much. Nice meeting you. I'm proud to be part of it. Thank you.
Now, Pap-to-Go, a lot of South African audiences will immediately resonate with that. Let's maybe start with you. Share a bit about your background and what exactly brought you to Southern Africa, because you are, in fact, from Germany.
I'm made in Germany, born in Germany. I did all my duties in Germany, my school, my apprenticeship and the army. But the last day I took off my uniform, my backpack was already packed. So that was in 1990 already, but these days we didn't have Google and all the magazines. Where can one go? And I traveled via the Cabo Verde Islands, via sailing boat to South America, where I got stuck. And only by chance I missed once a flight to Caracas from Lisbon, and there was a flight available to Cape Town. So I took that flight, and that was in September 96, and I never looked back.
I'm sure, having been here all these decades, you must have at least 3 favorite South African dishes. What are they?
Look, I'm a lion. I'm a meat eater. The first time I got invited to Braai, I saw the quality of meat, the size of steaks, talking sirloin rump, or getting a whole fillet. While later, when I got introduced to oxtail, which I only know from soup cans in the German army, where it was just a fluid and maybe a piece of meat as big as a pea. Plus, here I live at the coast. I love the fresh fish. All together, it's healthy, fresh, power food. What comes together with the pap? Look at you and our rugby player. You know, they are not poured up with muesli. They are poured up with brewers and pap, I believe.
And start looking into that conversation about your product. You have a company called Pap-to-Go. What is that?
Look, I followed up the immigration of sushi into Africa. What I love, but then it was expensive. Then there was good one. Then it was too expensive. Too much rice. Then I lived in Cape Town and I saw these shops coming and going. And it was, I hope I'm not rude, it was like 90% rice and a little bit of fish. But I thought, wow, it was available after a few years everywhere, even in a Spur steakhouse. Then I thought, why don't we have a distinctive African food? Yes, we have our braais, we have our pap, but I lived in the whole world. I have never seen the pap in New York or in Caracas or in London or where I lived and worked in Thailand. So yes, I needed something to do with our pap. What is our traditional staple food? So I looked at the sushi and I thought, well, let's do it the African way. And these days I called it afushi, and I used pap and I filled it instead of fish with different meats. While that's complicated, sometimes I say pap is a woman, you don't know how it reacts. So you have to teach yourself. And then in between, I worked in Panama again, where we had empanadas and arepas. It's also out of a maize dough and filled with cheese or chicken or tuna. So I made it for myself, playing around, realizing it's a mission to fill a pap. You need a form, a dough. And that developed over the years while I'm actually a tour guide, to make my living. I take people on safaris where I always see different foods. But I also saw different markets where that food belongs, either as a job creation for people to resell it or produce it, because I can take it up front. I can teach any learn-willing African people or any person to make Pap-to-Go. It's just a concept and the technical part to fill it. And that's again where I come in as a German educated car mechanic. It's a German engineering to make the pap, to ensure that each pap to go got the same size and the same weight. That's according to the fillings. Like one pap to go, I got some in the freezer. It's a full meal. It depends on the fillings and the size between 330 and 360 gram. If you eat it, you are done. Usually youngsters shared one. They cut it in the middle. But as I said, the development of making the mold for it and making it so that you can produce in high volume in a short time. Like once I had 7 people in the factory to make the pap. Like me working in hospitality tourism all the time, I know many top 5-star chefs. They can make 100 kilo pasta, 100 kilo potato, 100 kilo rice, easy. Ask them how to make 100 kilo pap. Nobody knows. They know, the pot and tuck for the family. No, I use big rubber pots and a concrete mixer with 4,000 watt in 3 gears to make pap.
Wow.
Because if you do that all day, therefore I needed a pap man, someone strong, because as soon as you start stirring the pap with boiling hot water, it gets more and more stiffy and harder. So the little girls, sooner or later, they turned around the mixer and the mixer was stuck in the pap. That's the main mission, to make the pap in high volume, where my dream was sooner or later having these big concrete trucks, what you see driving in our streets, But we might get there. But that was the first mission. And then if you make the mixture right, which I don't open up now because that's one of the business plan, to get the pap right, so you can form it and bend it and knit it and fill it, makes it perfect. And when you look at the pictures from my product Pap to Go, I believe it's one of the few, if not only products, where the brand is in the product. I got a stamp, it says in the product Pap to Go. Kentucky Fried Chicken, McDonald's never made it so far.
It's definitely a very unique product. Take us through the different fillings that you have and how is it different from, I suppose, traditional pies?
The fillings, that's one of the points, because you can make extreme, super delicious gourmet fillings that cost you more. The grocery prices, the meat prices. Like I started in the beginning with various patties I could buy, refried, and I added different sauces, pepper, cheese sauces, different bastings. That's the most reasonable ones. And then later, since I had a factory but not a shop, and I started to get the customer satisfaction proof, I started selling it here on the local farmers market. So you take a Pap to Go, instead of selling it in the locations for 15 or 20 rand, on the farmer's market you sell for 65 rand. You just add a slice of tomato and some green stuff and a carton plate, and you got a delicious meal. And people are impressed because, yes, they look at it, they hear Pap, but nobody knows Pap to Go. And of course, the first question is, it's a pie. Well, it's the same concept like a pie, but we use pap, not puff pastry, and we use like a usual British pie. Plus, the pap needs to be deep fried. You can't bake it. I tried it in the beginning because people scream, it's oily, it's oily, it's oily. No, if you fry it hard enough, and the Pap to Go is also pressed when you fill it, so it doesn't absorb the oil. That you see and taste later, you can touch it, you don't have oily fingers. Plus, if I produce 1,000 Pap to Go a day in the same oil, I don't have to refill oil. That tells me the oil stays in the fryer where it belongs. What is good if you know how much a liter oil costs these days. So that makes it simple, and that is the fantastic thing on the Pap to Go. The frying process closes up the pap. Then afterwards, it's like hard. You can't make a hole with the finger anymore. It's hard. It makes it solid. And of course, it gave him a more golden brownish texture in color. Because in between of my developing years, I found by Sean's yellow mice meal in Lesotho. What blew my mind, because I tried to deep fry the white ones with different oils and peanut oil and so on. They turned grayish light brown, but using yellow mice meal, it becomes golden. people don't know it, so they don't believe me that it's pap. So there is always a conflict. But the point is, you see it, you taste it, you believe it, and you love it. That was my experience because it's unique.
It sounds like you definitely spent a lot of time developing this product. Maybe take us through some of the challenges that you faced in that developing process, the amount of times that you failed, I'm sure.
It's a mood, how to make it that it takes a particular amount of filling, what is usually between 70 and 90 grams, depends on the filling, or 2 filled up soup spoons, where you can make it easier. You put it in polony skin and freeze it and cut it in slices. So you ensure the consistency that each pap to go is the same weight. And when you close it, does go. So there are a number of tricks. And then the mold, first I made it out of wood, cutting and carving and gluing plastic in it till I found a material called HDPE, which I had to bring then to a computer company, say cut it. But precisely, like now I can send them an email and say, listen, I need 10 more molds and I pick it up tomorrow. That is when the production comes, like telling about production and volume. Yes, it is a hand job, but therefore I can do it in the deepest jungle in Nigeria or Zaire. I don't need 3-phase power or whatever. I can set up factories everywhere in Africa. The most complicated part are the molds which I get produced here in South Africa while I order them by email. Then to boil pap, I need a pot and a fire. To boil oil, to fry them, I can also do on the fire, while I made it on gas, thanks to load shedding. I bought a high-tech 3-phase deep fryer, very huge, very expensive, but then with load shedding, I made it myself into gas, which works perfectly. And the important thing there is you need to have the oil really in the maximum point, that you fry it only between 3 and 4 minutes. That's enough because you're not cooking it while you fry it, because the pap was cooked. The fillings are also pre-cooked. We only seal it and make it solid. That's the frying process. Where, of course, there are a lot of steps. You need to make the pap, you need to pre-form it, you need to fill it, you need to close it, you need to fry it. But then you can deep freeze it. Why can you deep freeze it so nicely? Because pap is 2/3 is water. So you can deep freeze it. It becomes hard like a stone. I can show you now. But I can also take a deep frozen one and I put it 8 minutes in the air fryer and it's ready to eat. That was a challenge. I tried to prove to shopper checkers that they could sell their air fryer. What is the future? Microwave is past, and still I'm a car mechanic. Yes, I can explain how a Tesla works and a Ferrari engine, but I still don't know how microwave works. But with air fryer, which is quite simple, and it's healthy cooking, I cook every day, my steaks, everything in it, and I warm up my pap to go. Then you might have seen the one photo where I call it pap finger. That was a side product. It turned out that sometimes I didn't make enough meaty fillings, but I still had ready pap or what to go. So we rolled it, we made forms on Christmas, we made little moons, little stars out of pap for the kids for free. A snack better than any Lay's potato chips also on, and it's healthy, it's food. And then we made the pap finger, where I love it, my friends from Namibia, they call it vegan biltong, because pap is paired, it's one of my favorite stickers. Pap is another. I eat my pap finger every second day when I run, when I don't have rolls or something, and it must go quick. I put frozen pap finger in my air fryer, go ahead with a shower. When I come back after 3 minutes, the pap finger are ready to eat. I dip them warm into salted butter. I tell you, pap is power. I believe now I know where the rugby player gets the power from. He is a potato child. I believe in power. I love it. Back to the production, what I said before, I don't know if you know the prices of 5 kilo mice meal. We are now plus minus 60 rand. It was 25 and so on. Out of a bag with 5 kilo mice meal, I can make 50 pap to go. So the price obviously comes through the filling. Some people said, oh, you must use soya much cheaper. Yeah, why is it much cheaper? Because it doesn't taste. I taste different soya mixture. I'm a meat eater. I'm a lion. I can't do it with soya. And I don't want to sell food which I don't eat or which I don't offer to my best friends.
Yeah.
So later then I made the box where I called it Gourmet Brai Pap. Is exactly 4 different pap to go in it. Yes, and it says here on top, bring and brai combo box. Nothing worse in high season, your friends call you and say, oh, we got to bring and brai. What you go and shop, a steak and boerewors and 6 beer, you're looking at 500 rand. It's an expensive thing. And I live here at the coastline. I know from 20 years ago when the fires were going, people were brying. It was a weekend routine. Now people can afford. If you have 4 kids, they bring the friends, they all want the steak and boerewors and a Coke, you're looking at far beyond 1,000 rand. Mm-hmm. But that box, we sold it for 99 rand, 4 full meals, and you are in the middle of the party when you come with that box. You can do different fillings and you can go into vegan ones. You don't have to put in meat. You can put in feta cheese and spinach or just different peas, beans and broccoli. While I realized then the vegetable prices are also high. The pricing, the fillings makes the price. The mice meal is reasonable. The fillings cost. If you go better, like I made nice stew ramps with mushrooms and garlic and so on, it adds up the filling costs. That is why I look there for a partner in the food industry or for a product company that does already filling in high volume and just adding the pap chassis, saying, hey, we are the first remaking pies out of pap. Till I got pages and books of marketing, like some people bite in it, look at me and say, oh, that's pap of tomorrow. Yes, it's wording. But pap to go came, you can bite it, it doesn't crumb because the pap is quite tied together. You know, like a normal puff pastry pie, you bite in it while you drive a car, you need to change when you come home and a vacuum cleaner in the car. Yes. That pap to go is really pap to go. You put it in these cute little bags, move it out, and you eat it while you go. Easy, simple.
It definitely sounds like a product that customers are responding very well to.
It needs education, explanation when you don't know it. If I would have brought you 30 years ago a plate to your home with cold rice and cold raw fish in and say, eat it, you would have looked like, oh, are you going to kill me? What have I done wrong? No, people had to explain. And I always use the parallel with sushi. I know from my childhood, you eat raw fish, you're going to die, right? No, now the whole world loves it and they pay a fortune for it. But the point is that we Germans, we brought the bratwurst to the world, the Italians, the pizza, the Indians, the samosas, and now we bring pap to go to the world. It should become a franchise because you can do it everywhere. You can fill it with what is available, with chicken mushroom, with chicken alone, with beef, with the oxtail. My grandmother asked me, can you do it with oxtail? I said, yes, Granny, you make the oxtail, I put it in first. You know, I can put anything in. You know, that makes it so special. That's why we have different shapes. So once it's closed, you don't know what's in. So each shape got a different filling.
A retail store or a buyer at a food market is listening to this conversation now. Why should they have this on their shelf?
They should, because it's easy and simple to reheat, as I said, in the air fryer, while you can reheat it on a braai. That's why I also called it gourmet braai pap. You can heat it in your oven or even in a pan. You know, you can heat it like anything else. But because the pap chassis closes up the whole pap to go, it's never that there's some cheese running out or some fat. It's totally good. If I cut it in the middle, it's pap lid and a pap bottom, and in the middle is the meat.
And it comes a nice little shape as well.
It fits in my bags, and look, that's now 340 grams. If you eat it, it's a full meal. And that is what counts. Kids come from school, or when you serve it at schools or universities, or even in the army, or if you have a catastrophe, you know, you heat a few hundred in a big oven together. The good thing is you can freeze it. And I got old ones I made before COVID. I find it in one of my freezer. I put in the air fryer and I eat it. Pap, which is 2/3 water, freezes stone hard.
It's definitely an amazing product. Just off the topic, perhaps also even consider airlines, Airlink or South African Airways. Maybe they'll take miniature forms.
One of my dreams, since the air hostess usually asks beef or chicken, it's very simple now, and they can reheat it. And if you fly to South Africa and you get it, well, welcome to Africa. Where when you say they are pitching there or with supermarkets, my dream also was that one of the big mice meal product producer like either Pioneer Foods, Premium, Tiger Brands would say, oh, wow, please make it with our mice meal. Because that's a step further. Like my friends they got potato farms up the West Coast and they sell the potatoes to a company that makes Lay's potato chips. So out of one potato, which is 100 gram, you make a bag potato chips, 120 gram, and you sell it for 22 rand instead of a potato for 20 cents for one. That is what I think. And I put some of these milli farmers, and they are exactly that. They are milli farmers. But to take it a step further, take your mice and make a ready product. Someone has to be the first, and someone will be the first. Take it a step further. Don't sell only millis. Make it the first African-based, on mice-based takeaway food. Yes, I can go to Sparkling and pay. I get this little plastic with a cold spoon of pap and a spoon of some stew, but it's not sexy, funky pap to go. It's sexy and funky. Time changed. People change. The generation now 20 years old, since 5 years they can handle their iPhone and all the technique. They are not going to boil the big poiky and make pap with a piece of wood. No, it also changed. That's a generation. They have to eat pap to go.
Future plans. What do you have in store for pap to go, and where do you see it going in the next few years?
Because I traveled so much, I love some neighboring countries. Like I had a plan, like I was exactly February 2020 in Bulawayo on Harare. I hijacked already staff and I got a good TV chef there waiting for me because that was another issue. I wanted the African brand ambassador, a lady, Corsa lady, and not a white-skinned German man with green eyes with a German accent in his English. They don't trust me. You can trust me, but it's also passport for quality because every African wants to drive an Audi or BMW or Mercedes. So we Germans made pap to go. Maybe keep it as a secret. But like I said, I like to do it in Zimbabwe because there, in comparison, I would sell one pap to go for $1, what is now plus minus 20 rand. When I look at the other pie prices, it's fair. And the amount of fillings, to be honest, between us, I bought any available puff pastry pie in South Africa. I weighed them, I cut them open, I took with a teaspoon the filling out and weighed the filling. I must say, pap to go is the way to go. Where, me being German, I'm a good entrepreneur. I built a lot of stuff and I made a lot of people rich, but I never run a own business. So I need a business partner who says, wow, that's a product we can produce, sell it, distribute it, give it our name. I can put in any name or logo in it. There I made it pap to go because it is cute and you should actually know what it is. We stole it from coffee to go, what came years ago, now it's pap to go.
And it's definitely a catchy name.
I believe so. When some people say, oh, we can't read it. Well, whoever read Coca-Cola 100 years ago the first time did not read Coca-Cola, but today you know it. Yeah. Same like from Nike, you know it.
It's true.
Yeah. You know it.
That was, of course, Willfried Korn, the founder of Pap to Go. For more on this, visit www.foodfromzanzi.co.za. And that's a wrap. Remember to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss an episode. From me, Duncan Masiwa, our technical producer, Megan van der Vint, and the rest of #Team Food from Zanzi, as always, thanks for listening.
Life in South Africa can be a lot. I mean, scroll through Twitter for a minute and tell me I'm wrong. Thank God for South Africans though, right? We're inspiring, and even on the bad days, we fight back with a smile. That's why I love Food for Mzansi so much. They're not ashamed to celebrate the ordinary unsung heroes who work every day to put food on our nation's tables. Go to foodformzansi.co.za and never miss an inspiring story.